fellow Lexophiles. It's Elizabeth at the Ashland branch, and I'm here with another poetry break. Today, I've chosen poems about community and connection. So let's get started. Our first one is called Demographic by Dorianne Lowe. It's time for me to walk to the bus stop and sit down among them, the man tied into his wheelchair, the woman with the humped back. Time for me to kneel and hold his cup while he adjusts his book and his pack. Look up at her flowered blouse, his scratched glasses. There's a sky full of rain that won't come down, pigeons asleep on the lawn, and across the street, pumpkins piled high in front of the market. Xeroxed flyers stapled to the telephone pole. To the east, a day moon above the bridge, cars filing under like a school of fish. And if I look down at my feet, I won't knock over the plastic dish the blind man has filled to the brim for his dog. It's time to go to work, to wait while they gather their belongings, while the metal mesh platform unhinges and bangs down. Time to nod to the driver as he pulls back on the lever, and a man lifts into the air to cup her elbow, a thin wing sharpened by suffering, to enter the threshold and stand among them, listen to their murmurs, the news of the day, to slip my hand through the frayed canvas noose and hold on. Our second poem is called Letter from My Ancestors by Krista Benjamin. We wouldn't write this, wouldn't even think of it. We are working people without time on our hands. In the old country, we milk cows or deliver the mail or leave, scattering to South Africa, Connecticut, Missouri, and finally, California for the gold rush. Aaron and Lena run the Yosemite Campground, General Store, a section of the stagecoach line. Morris comes later, after the earthquake, finds 2 irons and a board in the rubble of San Francisco. Plenty of prostitutes need their dresses pressed, enough to earn him the cash to open a haberdashery and marry Sadie. We all have stories, yes, but we're not thinking stories. We have work to do and a dozen children. They'll go on to pound nails and write up deals, not musings. We document transactions. Our diaries record temperatures, landmarks, symptoms. We do not write our dreams. We place another order, make the next delivery, save the next dollar, give another generation, you maybe, the luxury of time to write about us. Our third poem today has a really interesting title, and is part of the reason why I chose it. The title itself is, If I Ring My Body Like a Bell of Coins, Will the Shock Waves of That Sound Cause Oil Rigs and Volcanoes to Erupt? And the author is Michaela Kahn. 1. If the praying mantis, who lived in our kitchen for 17 days, really did rise from the grave where we buried her, all that was left next day, an empty hole between basil and oregano, and fly to some other home, other rice field, perhaps the weapons of war will fold like chrysanthemums under their own weight. The notion of war collapse like matter inside the sun. 2. 2 more days of bombing in Afghanistan. Egrets fly low over the rice fields. A woman loses 4 children beneath the rubble of a house. The Central Valley smells of smoke. Most symptoms only hint at the larger truth. The rest lies hidden beneath a stone, buried in a garden somewhere. 3. Belgium. What was buried, a bottle of cognac, hidden from the now retreating Nazis, given to a GI for promising to locate the Belgian son. What seals this promise is an exchange of crucifixes between the men. What is buried are ashes, a shoebox full of photographs taken when the GI and his small group came upon an abandoned concentration camp. He buries them beneath the backyard fig tree, but is not able to burn the after images of skeletons and ash from his mind. And when his daughter marries a Jew, can't forgive his son-in-law. 4. This same story played out 5,000 years ago in the Crab River mud, where a woman sang songs as she washed her clothes, and her husband, miles away, was slain by sword in a battle for possession of that river. What is left, the hollow of her palm print in clay, hanging in a museum. 5. My mother told me, if you bury something in the backyard, a toy truck or a small metal soldier, you will not find it there 2 weeks later. She said the sand is always moving, cycling, that the stone you find near the fig tree is from China or Istanbul, that the toy soldier will reappear 50 years later, slightly wet, salty. 6. When he is many years dead, the GI's granddaughter, half Catholic, half Jew, holds the Belgian crucifix with shaky fingers, turns the pin at the bottom, opens it, finds the smell of rain wafting up from the relic toenail inside. The fourth poem for today is called The Way Back by Sheila Ortiz Taylor. They stand in this Christmas snapshot, poised like adagio dancers, facing each other, their arms draped around their matching bones, brother and sister, while behind them, out of focus, the family spins. Around these two, youngest of 13, held now for eternity, in this moment, before their twin feet slide them out in a celestial tango, a silence gathers. We see their handsome faces, Indian bones in glinting cheeks, their raven hair gray-streaked, their eyes as deep and dark as wells, holding a history of careless loss, land, lovers, mothers, maps. The way back is a land more innocent than this. He joined the Navy. She married a judge. They both baked bread in institutional ovens. He wrote long letters home and sent his mother silk pillows embroidered with military targets. He baked bread while his 8 brothers lost fingers, toes, knees, elbows. He could almost hear the bullets thud into dough, and the sound made him rise, growing from uniform to uniform until they had declared peace. Home again, he folded away his whites, kissed his sisters, and told his brothers he was going to become a hairdresser. News that made their wounds ache more than seemed possible. Finally, he followed them to work at Lockheed, learning to drill holes in himself, discovered insomnia, married a beautician named Molly, whose hair he dyed green every Christmas. He loved all holidays. Life needed themes, spelled out in sparkles, sprinkles, cutouts, paste-ups, but most of all, in costume. Halloweens found brother and sister on their knees before bolts of cloth and wimpling tissue, pins in their mouth, blue chalk on their hands for years, artists of the self. You can see it here in this snapshot, white polyester pants belling out around white cowboy boots, red Western shirts tailored close to the rib, Indian silver at the waist, twins in spirit, if not by birth, holding each other in a light embrace, their grace not lost. And yet, the way back is a land more innocent than this. The time came round when neighbors, preferring razor blades to invention, would not let their children trick-or-treat where a grown man put costumes on. That Christmas night, very late, he backed his throbbing Continental into the dark garage that shut down tight behind him, crawled into the back seat, bearing a bottle of champagne, one glass, a photograph. And I just have one more poem for you today, a shorter one. Done a couple long ones. This one is called Encounter by Krista Milosh. We were riding through frozen fields in a wagon at dawn. A red wing rose in the darkness, and suddenly a hare ran across the road. One of us pointed to it with his hand. That was long ago. Today, neither of them is alive, not the hare nor the man who made the gesture. Oh, my love, where are they? Where are they going? The flash of a hand, streak of movement, rustle of pebbles. I ask not out of sorrow, but in wonder. That will do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.